The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy E Buck in the building, also known as Eric Buckner, but also known as E Buck. Y'all know what it is. What's going on? It is time for that show that I call the I Am Nighthawk Pod Show, where I discuss some of the things that you guys perhaps are not thinking about when you're asleep, but I'm thinking about while I'm still awake. That part. What is going on tonight? I got a couple topics to discuss with y'all. Main one is this story that has been circulating here in the Detroit area that has now basically gone national, and some of my thoughts in regards to that. Once you see the story, you'll see where we're going with it. And then, of course, we want to get into some of the up in folks' business, you know, where I talk some celebrity news and what's going on with a few of the celebrities in general that I want to have discussions about. That part. Hopefully everybody's having a good week and is doing well. No, it's kind of slow. A lot of you guys have your kids out of school for the week, for the Easter holiday and all of that. So for those of you that's spending that quality family time, good. For those of you who got them kids getting on your nerves, tell them to find some business. Find some good stuff for them to do this week. Understand that school is going to be out in another couple months, so don't let them rest up now and just play video games all week. Make sure they stay busy learning an activity or whatnot. In the meanwhile, let's talk about this individual, which is what the majority of the show is going to be about. A young lady that I became familiar with last week when her show came up on my local news. And from that point on, the discussion began. You'll understand what I'm talking about once we get to this video right here. Let me show it for y'all. And then after that, of course, we shall discuss.
The former teacher at a Taylor charter school who says she was fired because of her passion outside of the classroom. Thank you so much for joining us for 7 Action News at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. She's pursuing a rap career and says that a parent complained after seeing her videos online.
7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham spoke with the former educator and reached out to the school to find out more about the issue.
Nobody even knew I was a rapper until the parent kept continuously complaining.
Motown baby going crazy like the 80s. Motown baby going...
Dominique Brown, whose rap name is Drippin' Honey, has been an educator for 7 years and started teaching history at Taylor Preparatory High School in August. But all that came to an abrupt end months later, after she says a parent came across one of her rap videos.
The first meeting that I had with like the principal and the dean, they had told me that the parent wished to stay anonymous and she felt as if she didn't like my rap career and that I was a bad influence on the kids because I rap.
She says she was fired in February because she's a rapper. Before the firing, around Thanksgiving, she says there were meetings and an ultimatum.
My mind and my heart was telling me two things. I couldn't see myself like giving up my other passion just because somebody didn't like it. And they said erase all your content. That was the ultimatum, erase all your content. I'm just like, respectfully, I can't do that.
Brown acknowledges the profanity in her lyrics, but she says that has nothing to do with Taylor Prep and the positive impact she's had on her students and the community.
Is it that they didn't like your rapper career, or was it that they didn't like necessarily the content?
The meetings was so like one-sided to where they only told me what somebody didn't like. They didn't tell me as if you did this wrong, you did that wrong. So, and that's why I also, in my behalf, I'm like, well, send me what am I doing wrong in writing?
The writing was on the wall. Despite that, in December, she won Teacher of the Month. In February, on her last day, she created a music video with her students that has since gone viral.
As a parent, we long for teachers who support our children and who inspire them. And she was one of those teachers. So really, truly disappointed.
Christina Lynn says her son, an 11th grader, started a petition in support of Miss Brown, gathering over 200 student signatures. Lynn says she's seen Brown's videos and that they are no different than any other hip-hop video a child can access on social media.
For me, it doesn't matter what you do outside of the education structure. Like once you leave that particular building and you go on with your life, then you do whatever you do.
Brown says she misses her students and making an impact.
These kids got their own goals, their own aspirations. So I'm just trying to see how I can help them.
I've been reaching out to the school all day, trying to get their side of the story. I was assured someone would get back with me. After another call and another conversation, still no response. As soon as we get the school side, we'll be sure to bring that to you. In the meantime, Ms. Brown says she is reaching out to an attorney regarding her termination. In Taylor, Darren Cunningham, 7 Action News.
All right, there you have it, the story we're going to talk about this evening. That is the story of Dominique Brown, teacher / entertainer, and what has transpired with her in the last couple weeks in regards to her being fired from her job as a school teacher. Now, first and foremost, I want to dedicate this show to all my educator friends. Shout out to people like my good friend and my birthday partner, because we had a birthday on the same day. That would be Miss Dana Wallace. Y'all know her as Dana Brown, some of you, but she's Dana Wallace now. Her married. Hopefully things are going well for her down there in Texas. And then, of course, I must also shout out somebody who's been on the show a couple of times. That would be my good friend that I grew up and went to high school with. That would be Miss Latrice Dawkins, educator in her own right for several years. And then, of course, there are other people here in the Nighthawk Network who are educators as well. So this show is for you. First and foremost, I must point out what I always point out when we have any discussion about people who teach. They are not, I repeat, they are not being compensated enough for their efforts on a daily basis educating our young people, okay? The fact that teachers make what they make on average is a damn shame. Let me say that again for the folks in the back. A damn shame. Now, as you know, if you guys tuned in on Sunday and saw that I was one of the guest hosts there on the platform known as Dishing Tea with Big Meech, shout out to Big Meech and the squad, Big Meech, Big Red Ally, and of course, Aunt Nikki. Shout out to my peoples in the podcast where we do our things here in the podcast world, my family lamb, as I call them. Thank you for letting me be a part of your discussion and for having part of this discussion on your platform. I appreciate it. For those of you who missed that, please go back to Dishing Tea with Big Meech. You can find that on the YouTube channel. And they, in turn, will lead you to that show that we had on Sunday. For those of you who not familiar with Big Meech, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this subject and get into a deep dive about it. This is, of course, the I Am Nighthawk podcast. I'm Nighthawk. Be back.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my tea sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meech.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech.
Darling.
Nikki.
Let's talk. Let's
Nikki.
talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Nikki. Nikki.
All right, we are back. This is the I Am Nighthawk podcast. I'm your host, eBuck, in the building. We are talking about the teacher known as Dominique Brown, who has basically become a national story after being fired by the Taylor School District for being not only an educator, but her second side hustle as a rap artist. Okay, first and foremost, like I said, teachers do not, I repeat, do not make enough money here in this place we call America. They are not compensated properly for what they do. Good evening, eBuck. Good evening to those of you shouting us out here on the network. We appreciate you. Here's the thing, good people. You know, I always talk about certain statistics here on the platform. One of them, of course, is usually the median average of what us as Americans make each and every year. The average American makes a little bit over $54,000 a year in salary, okay? For my educator friends who can chime in, or basically for those who just know, how many teachers you know make $54,000? Period. There are not as many as you would think. I think teachers should make at least double that much, particularly if you teach the higher levels of education. Basically, anywhere from third grade into high school, truthfully, I think you should make more than that. I'm going to be honest, and it's not to belittle the teachers that teach the lower grades. It's just as you get up in grades and the kids get up in age, there are more things you have to contend with, behavioral wise, so on and so forth. That's why you should be compensated properly. Not to mention the fact that many of our educators oftentimes use their own salary to help in the education process with the things they buy for their classrooms and whatnot. And they're not properly compensated on that, though there are things now in our tax laws that kind of help them out to some degree, but not nearly as much as it should. Okay. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, we have a person here who it appears, because we don't know everything about Miss Brown. I'm pretty sure there'll be someone trying to do a deep dive to get further into the story and find things to discredit her. For those people, shame on you. But it does appear that she is a woman who does care about educating our people, so much so that she had them involved in her video. Not to mention the fact that this is the same educator who, though they seem to have some proper problem with what she does as a side hustle in November, still was voted Teacher of the Month that next month before being fired 2 months after. Please make that make sense. Well, let's kind of dig a little deeper. The Taylor School District in Taylor, Michigan. For those of you here in the Michigan area, you familiar. For those of you who are outside of our little circle, our bubble here in Michigan, let me educate you on the fact that the Taylor School District it's a diverse school district. There is a good mixture of both people that look like me and people who are non-pigmented, the Caucasian, or white people, whatever politically correct term you would prefer. There is a good mixture of both types of students in that school district. Taylor Preparatory High School, I do believe there's a couple people in the Nighthawk Network who may actually either attended that high school before or have had students or do currently have students that go to that high school. So if you do have that and you want to chime in, I definitely would like your expertise in that regard. That would definitely help this story matter. But nonetheless, you are familiar with that high school and you know the inner workings and how it goes. I'm going to put my 2 cents in there. I do believe that the parent or parents in question that had an issue with the teacher being a rap artist more than likely decided that it was time to go ahead and play the cards. You know, I like to bring out the cards when we talking things of race relations, okay? These being the quote unquote race cards. I do believe that the reason why the teacher was not fully informed as to who said what is because the person that had an issue with what she was teaching in her class was a person who was Caucasian. Now, I hate that about it. I hate the fact that it is a race issue. If it's not, I stand corrected ahead of time. But I do believe that part of that comes into play. Another part is the fact that, yes, her second side hustle is rap. And people have a bad connotation of what rap is about. Rap has itself to blame for that because most of the more popular rappers that are out here in the lexicon of social media, society, what have you, are people who are seen as artists who use profanity, who use sexuality, who use violence and drugs to promote what they say in their rap lyrics. Okay. Now, before you judge Miss Dominique Brown on her content, I encourage you to watch her videos first. You can find her rap name is Drippin' Honey. That's DRIPPIN Honey. And you can find her videos on YouTube. I will try to go back through here later on and post some of the links to the videos so you can see them for yourself. Basically, if you feel like she as an educator should be using this educational type stuff in her rap, and nothing more, then you will be disappointed by what you see. If you basically find that you expect her to be Sexy Red or Cardi B or somebody on that level in terms of her rap, not quite that either. Somewhere in the midst of the in between, but on the lesser side of that in between is what I think you will see in her lyrics and whatnot. But you also see that she has a fondness and care for her students, as she had, as the story talked about. She did put one of several of the students in one of the videos. That one will be Dripping Honey 101 that you can find on her YouTube platform. And if you could do that young lady a favor, please like and subscribe, because as content creators, we all appreciate when you do that. Here's the thing, people. Again, because I look at it from the standpoint of educator as person first, educator second, part of the workforce third, and just human being somewhere in the midst of that, I don't think it's fair that if she was fired, and this was the sole reason why she was fired, that she was fired. I think that she was done wrong. And the fact that she is seeking out representation through a lawyer, I think is a very good thing. That is a problem for me personally, especially since I know, because I'm a person who basically know educators, have taken education classes, has oftentimes talked to you guys on the air about tutoring young people at different points in my life. It is very difficult to find people that care about our children enough to want to educate them and teach them properly. There are, well, I won't say a lot. There are educators out here now who basically have the job, and it is a job, and it's nothing more. They are little more than basically certified babysitters for our children. They could care less about your child. It's come in, throw this stuff on the board. If you learn it, you learn it. You don't, you don't. There are teachers that are out here that are like that, unfortunately. The majority of our educators, they don't do it for the wealth, obviously. They do it for the love of the children, for the love of education and the love of educating people. I would like to think that Miss Dominique Brown is one of those people, and that's why she is so hurt by the circumstances that have led her to lose her job. Now, understand, this was a local story. This story, since that time, has become a national story, in that platforms such as the Breakfast Club and Way Up with Angela Lee have carried this story in the last couple of days and talked about this situation. They basically named the Taylor School District, which they mistakenly called the Detroit Super, because, and again, Taylor is on the outskirts of Detroit. For those of us in Detroit, we often do not like when you misrepresent the inner city as opposed to metropolitan Detroit, especially when it's something wrong like this. Don't do that to us. Charlamagne the God, you my peoples, but you got to do a little better research on that type of stuff, okay, bro? Anyway, here's my take on it. In an ideal world, even if they offered her a job back tomorrow, I wouldn't go back based on how they dealt with that. That was just wrong. I know there's been a couple stories so far this year about educators who have had other side hustles that are conflicts of interest, so to speak. Particularly, I want to talk about the story of the former head of the NAACP, who was an educator, I believe, out in Utah, and was fired from her job for having the OnlyFans page. Now, that situation is different to a degree than what we have here. I understand, because of the OnlyFans and the content and the possibility that her students might get hold of that content and have bad things to say, so on and so forth. I get why that would be an issue and why that would be a mean to not retain that particular individual. I get all that, even though I do feel like the cards come into play with some of that as well. But in this case, I really feel like she is being misportrayed by that school district because of the particular side hustle that it is. Even if she was a quote unquote educated rapper, basically all she rapped about was ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, I think it still would have been an issue for whoever made those complaints or that complaint in regards to her doing it. I think because she is a rapper slash educator and she is a person of color, that played an issue in it as well, unfortunately. I do question that if she had been a Caucasian individual, would she still have her job right now? I understand. Some people will say, well, they gave her the ultimatum. They told her if you're racial content, we'll go ahead and keep it pushing. That's not fair. Understand that if this is her side hustle, her second job, so to speak, and she in turn can multiply that into more money that she might actually use to help on the educational side and doing things for her students and whatnot, that would be a good thing, you would think. Understand she's been an educator for 7 years. And I would like to think if you are hiring teachers that you do some type of investigative or background check on them to see what type of things. I mean, this day and age of social media is probably going to be required in the future that if you are an educator, that they're going to go back in your background and see what type of things you posted on social media. And it's going to have to match up to the standards and practices of whatever educational place you choose to teach. I think that will probably go on this moment forward in some of these school districts, unfortunately, though it should not completely matter, mind you. What's going on, Charles? Thanks for checking in. Appreciate you. The problem that's really bothering me about this is it's kind of good, bad, and good. It's good that we have shed a light on this situation because, again, as I said, most of our educators do not get properly compensated for what they do. And understand that that is a field that is dying. I go back to the days of COVID, that thing that some of y'all like to forget ever existed, and recall to you that time that the time in which you had to help educate your child through online services and whatnot, and the teachers became so vital in that, you did not treat some of them, hell, you did not treat the majority of them well in regards to what they did. I feel to this day they should have received some type of bonus, and there was a package voted on by the House of Representatives that actually passed the House of Representatives that probably would have helped toward that. But of course, it died in the Senate at that time because the Senate was being ran by Republicans, so on and so forth. Big old mess. Anyway, I really feel like when it comes to our educators, yes, we do tend to hold them to a higher standard, and it's not fair that we do when it comes to certain things, okay? It should not be an issue whatsoever that she is a rap artist. Hell, even if she was a rap artist on a Cardi B Sexy Red type level, that should not have basically got her terminated from her job as an educator if in the end she delivered when she came to work and did a quality job of educating our children and did not use that as a form to educate. I mean, I understand that you look at some of the profanity that are used in the videos that of her and whatnot, and you may feel some type of way. But again, remember, this is a high school teacher. I've never been to Taylor Preparatory High School. Not now, not ever, but I promise you, you will hear much stronger language in the hallways being used by the children than anything she said in any of those videos. I promise you that. You are not going to sit here and tell me that you walk the halls of Taylor Prep High School and all those children are just cherubs and angels and whatnot. No, no, not at all. No way. This is a good thing, perhaps, because of this, Dominique Brown now has received quite a bit of exposure in regards to this story. So much so that I'm pretty sure there are people reaching out to her. There are several people. I wish I could have had her on the podcast tonight to discuss. She's apparently had discussions with other people on local podcasts and Apparently, a couple of national podcasts have reached out to her to have her on the show to discuss. I also think because she is a entertainer as a rapper, that there will be people in that world that will reach out to her and offer her opportunities as well. I sincerely hope that that is the case. I'm about to actually do something live here on the air and go to her YouTube page where currently her video Dripping Honey now has 172,000 views. This time last week it was about maybe 4 or 5,000. So the word is definitely getting out there about her. She now has over 7,000 subscribers on her page. I am one of them. Let me do this. I want to share this with you guys so y'all can gain a better understanding of what we're talking about here. Let me see if I can do that live on the air here. Stand by. Okay. All right, that should be it coming up. Yep. So if you go to this link here, that is a link to her YouTube page and the video Dripping Honey, and you can judge for yourself what you think about her music and what have you. But I personally hope that she does get some opportunities from this. The only bad thing about it is she's more than likely going to get more opportunities in the rap world than in the world of education. And because I imagine if she connects with the right folks, she will make considerably more money doing that than educating our kids. That more than likely that's the route that she'll probably go. And it's unfortunate because she appears to be a person that like and enjoy teaching young people. But in the end, bills got to get paid. And if you are going to basically feel like she is not worthy of educating our young people, and there are other opportunities out there that are more fruitful and that will help to increase her pay in that way, I can't be mad at her if that's the route she goes. I would like to think there is a world and society where she can successfully do both and be compensated well in both. More than likely not going to be the case, but it's sad that that is the case, that this is how this story has played out thus far. I hope that she does go through with her suit, and if allegedly that is what happened, I hope she is properly compensated for being fired under those circumstances, because I feel like it was wrong. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on that. Like I said, whether you see this live or if you see it later on in the rebroadcast, be sure to put your comments in the comment section. I will always go back and check to see what comments were made later on. In fact, not to mention, I will get the notifications. If you want to keep your comments private and show me that way, you can always go to my Facebook Messenger and enter your comments or enter your comments on the YouTube channel that way, if that's how you so choose to do so. But again, her name is Dominique Brown, known as Dripping Honey. Check out her video. You yourself be the judge. In the meanwhile, we are going to take another break here on the show. When we come back, we are going to get in of those Hollywood folks in the Up in Your Business segment of the show and talk about a few of the Hollywood people and what they got going. One of them in a bad way. I think you already know where I'm going with that. Another person got something very interesting coming up, and I want to have a discussion about that as well. So again, this is the I Am Nighthawk Pod Show. I am your host, Ebuck, and we'll be back after these words from people here in our Nighthawk Network.
Hold up, hold up. Hold up, hold up.
Find more from Hugh Lee on the Pure to the Game Sports blog or on his Guru's Perspective podcast on Spotify or Anchor Podcasts.
What's going on, y'all? We are back. This is the I Am Nighthawk Sports Podcast Show, and we are now on the section that I call the Up in Them Folks Business, where we talk about some of the people that are in that realm of Hollywood and such, and talk about what they got going on, the good, bad, and otherwise. Now, I did not set this up properly, so give me a minute. Again, this is me producing live on the air, as we sometimes have to do the way we had this thing set up. Hold on while I figure out what's what here. Okay. There are 4 items up for bid that I want to have some discussion about in terms of our Hollywood people this week. I actually am in the process of downloading the photos onto the platform because I did not take the time to do that before the show. I apologize for that, good people. I truly do. I got caught up doing other things and forgot to take care of that business. My bad, y'all, my bad. So I'm actually doing this live on the air. And again, I apologize for not being properly prepared. I usually am, but there's other things going on behind the scenes that some of which I'll discuss at a later date. It's still all a process, you know what I'm saying? But okay, I think I got what I need. I just got to get it to you guys now. So again, that's going to take a second or two. That might be a problem as well. Hold on. All right, here we go. Again, I apologize for the live on the air doing of the actual production of the show. This is what happens, people, when you are not only the host, but also your executive and your co-executive producer. It be like that sometimes. Times like this, I miss my person, H2. I really do miss you, H2. There is so much going on in this world that I wish you were here to discuss with your boy about. I really do, H2. Of course, the still the inspirational head of this Nighthawk network of ours. Hopefully you are resting peacefully in paradise. All right, first and foremost, now that we got that part straight, let us start out by getting into this person's business because today is her birthday. Happy birthday to the one and only Diana Ross, who has turned the magical 80 years old today. 80 years old. Well, in her case, I would say 80 years young because if you've seen her recently, she still looks great, especially for 80. She is doing phenomenally well. She is still alive and well. Of course, we don't see her much in terms of performing anymore, but it's always good on those rare occasions where we see her on about or she takes the time to do some type of media, which she rarely does these days. We are glad that she is still well and doing well. So happy birthday, Miss Diana Ross, first and foremost. We do have another comment here. Who's the boss? Mrs. Ross. Of course, that is Big Meech checking into the show. What's going on, Big Stuff? Appreciate you checking in, family. Is she still touring? I hope she comes here. I think she does shows once every blue moon or so. So, yeah, you might be able to catch her somewhere down the line. I do know if you're talking about, well, hold on. Before I fully answer that, Let me find out who said that, because you come from the Nighthawk Network page, and I have to access that to see who said that there. Oh, that was our good friend Tracy. What's going on, Tracy? What's up, family? He's saying there for him is Philadelphia. Okay. Aeon Stars Records, thank you for checking into the podcast. I said, yes, she is still touring. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it. Okay, she's on tour now, says Meech. Interesting. Did not know that. So, yeah, perhaps you will be able to catch her in Philly there, Tracy. I hope so for your sake. I'm pretty sure she's going to be there. She will definitely come home at some point. So that would be good. Miss Patti LaBelle actually is going to be performing here on Mother's Day for those of you in the Detroit area that want to see a good show. I don't remember exactly where. Hey there, Arion Star Records. Okay, that's perhaps somebody that the Bigster knows. So I appreciate that. You've been sharing the podcast to other folks. Meech, I appreciate you for that. You know, I appreciate all your efforts for all you do for my Nighthawk Network. And I try to reciprocate and do those things for you as well. And Star Records is also saying my best friend just celebrated with her for her birthday. That's awesome. That is cool. So they are actually people that know Miss Diana Ross. That is great. We are connected here in the network, y'all. Remember, this is not just a show that shows locally here in Detroit. There are people in 23 different states and 4 different countries that are members of my Nighthawk Network. And they can tune in and pop in at any time. And we appreciate y'all for that. We truly do. Okay, getting back into the business. I want to talk about the big business of the day. We might as well go ahead and get it out the way, y'all. Let's get into this man's business. Yep, y'all know who that is. That would be Sean P. Diddy, Puffy, Love Combs, whichever of his monikers you prefer to call him as. It looks like soon, allegedly, based on some of the actions that have went on in the last 48 hours, we may soon be calling him criminal or inmate, because they is trying to get him. They're trying to get him, and they're trying to get him. You know the story. Basically, yesterday, it was in all the major news outlets that the homes in Miami and I believe New York, it was 2 other homes of Puffy Combs were raided by the federal government agencies. What are they looking for? Don't exactly know. That has not been completely reported. There have been speculations upon it. Diddy people are celebrating his downfall. I just can't do it. I'm about to get to my thoughts on that in a second. Hold on. We tripping now. Okay, I'm trying to get to the next comment, but it's not going to let me do it. There we go. I was going to ask if you are up on them adding Cuba Gooding Jr. to this fiasco. And they put Prince Harry's name in this thing too. And there are more names jumping in. I've heard allegedly Jamie Foxx's name get thrown in this mix. I've thrown, of course, we all know Meech Mill's name has been thrown in the mix in the last couple of weeks in regards to Diddy. Pretty much anybody that's had any type of halfway good time with Diddy, their name gonna come up in this thing. This could get way, way, way uglier than it already is. Some of the things they are discussing is finding allegedly tapes with sex acts of sex workers and underage individuals. Allegedly, there are things that were found in the home allegedly of an illegal variety. Nonetheless, the problem that we have here is that one of the Black icons that we have grown to know over the years, one of the richer Black individuals here in America, is now under attack from all sides. Ever since the initial lawsuit filed against him by his former lover, Miss Cassidy, which he settled very quickly, as we recall, extremely quick, all the skeletons are starting to fall out the closet, y'all. And it's getting ugly. And I think this is merely the beginning still. And then, of course, I find it interesting that in the process of all this, Diddy left the country and is in Antigua, according to some reports. I'm thinking that sometime before the end of the week, there's going to be some type of arrest warrant or something like that for him, and they're going to want him to turn himself in. I don't know what's going to become of this. I will say that if somehow, as Road is checking in, what's going on, Road? Appreciate you checking in as always. If somehow he finds his way out of this and he is being falsely accused after they done raided his homes, do you understand the type of lawsuit that he will be able to file against the government after raiding his homes and putting his children in handcuffs and so on and so forth? I would love for that to be the case where they got it all smurfed up and he ain't did nothing wrong. But I'm afraid, people, that that's probably not gonna happen. I don't know what to think about this, Eba. I hear you, Tracy. Like I said, I really, really want this all to be false. I just want this to be a couple people that's very salty that they ain't getting a fair cut of what they feel they should get from Diddy and have put all these bad charges on him and let people trump it up. But it seems like there's a lot of smoke in this story. And y'all know the saying, where there's smoke, there is fire. Ro, who has been keeping up with this story as well on her platform, known as Road Started Radio, is checking in. She's saying the producer who sued Diddy amended his lawsuit, which is interesting. Like I said, I'm sure in the next several days we're going to find out all types of information about this. I am wondering if he was attempting to make some kind of major purchase or if someone did an account access of his finances to determine if he has gotten too big for his britches. And remember, we actually did discuss this a little bit on the show Sunday, Meech, where we talked about perhaps that they may be coming after him because he planned on doing a major purchase. Remember, he was one of the people mentioned when they talked about selling BET not too long ago and trying to purchase that. It is now a 90-page lawsuit, according to Road. And like I said, I think this is just the beginning. I think there are going to be other people in the weeks to come that's going to file lawsuits, people that he was involved with. Understand, anybody who has ever been connected to Diddy to any degree is about to get this microphone in their face like, did you know, blah, 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 blah. For example, it would probably suck to be people like Jennifer Lopez right now. You know they're going to ask her about Diddy, even though her and Diddy ain't dated for years and years. But because they were an item around the time some of this stuff allegedly happened, you know they're going to want to know that. Anybody that's worked for Diddy, obviously, from Mace on down, they're going to want to know things in regards to their relationship with Puppet Combs and what happened. There's already been people that can kind of put little stuff out there. You remember Columbus Short saying that Diddy tried him and things of that nature, and how some people have been talking about some of the parties. Again, like I said, there are other people that he partied with often. You know, Jamie Foxx and Diddy have partied a couple of times. That's why his name probably got through in it to some degree. I really hope Jamie ain't got nothing to do with this at all. It does appear Cosby-ish. It does give off that vibe. And to this day, I'm still kind of torn as to what truly transpired with Dr. Cosby. I really don't know if he did, what he did, to what extent he did, to what extent he didn't. I refuse to believe that all of those people who accused him had some improper settlement with him. Jaguar Wright spoke about him too. It's funny how that name always seems to find its way in the mix when it comes to stuff like this. Jaguar Wright might be more famous for that than what she's actually supposed to be famous for, truth be told. And speaking of things that are messy, let me jump into this right quick since we up in folks' business. Let me get into this young man's business right quick. That would be William Jr., known to us as Ray J, Brandy's brother, that guy. We getting up in his business because yesterday he launched a new television network. And basically it's supposed to consist of shows with he kind of described it as ratchet content. Okay. So imagine, if you will, shows like Bad Girls Club and Love and Hip Hop and those type of things, but on a much more outlandish scale, all in one network for the low price of, I think he initially wants to do $4.99 for the content, and basically it promises to show things to an even greater degree than you see on the shows that we see now on the networks. Hey, Uncle Eric. All right, let me see who that is. Oh, that's young Israel. What's going on, Israel? Ain't heard from you in a minute, brother. Good to hear from you, my friend. Rhoda is saying there is a YouTuber named Mims, aka Make It Make Sense, did a dip dive on Diddy. I watched all 3 videos. Oh Lord. Like I said, the story's about to start coming out. The skeleton's about to come out of all the closets. If he did some of these things, trust me, this is gonna be the time everybody get their 15 minutes of fame and speak on what they know. Shaking my head, we don't need no more ratchet TV. Here's the problem that I have with what's going to transpire. The thing is, Ray J, from a business standpoint, in doing this, it makes perfect sense. He realized that there definitely is a market for this type of television or this type of programming. If it wasn't people that got the Zeus network and people that watch certain Tubi movies and whatnot, they would not be as popular as they are. Okay, that's just the truth of the matter. So yeah, when you hear about these things, and then some of the people that's already been connected to the network, people like who's some people? People like Nicki Minaj's former boyfriend. Y'all remember that brother, the one who wrote them hits. He's supposed to be involved with the network. People like I'm trying to think of this child's name. Sukiana. Sukiana's supposed to have a show on the network. There are other people from that ratchet world that are supposed to have either shows on the network or be involved in shows on the network. I can imagine what the content looks like. Will I be buying us a subscription? Maybe, just to see what it's about for a month or so. If I like it, I keep it. If not, it's like, okay, charge to the game. I mean, as a person that talks about stuff on media, I kind of got to at least check it out before I judge it on that level. Yeah. That is Israel again saying, glad to be a part of the Nighthawk Network. We appreciate you being a part as well. What about Stevie J? Good question. Will he be a part of this programming? Who knows? Or even Miss Jocelyn Hernandez and people of that ilk? We shall see. But basically Ray J promises that the content is gonna be steamy and hot, and we're gonna want more and more of it. So we'll give it a try when it come out to see what it's about. But I imagine what it's gonna be, and it's not gonna be things that we gonna be proud of. It's gonna be a lot of people that look like me that's gonna act a fool and get clowned for doing so. So that's kind of why I don't want it to happen. Like I said, Ray J has shown that he does have some good business equipment when it comes to things of this nature. But I kind of hope that he kind of branches it out to some better stuff later on down the line, or basically that it flops, but he don't fall on his face to the point to where now Ray J is broke trying to be ratchet. Rhoda saying Mims has the amended lawsuit. He read it in one of the videos. Oh Lord! Like I said, there's gonna be a lot more information that comes out in the days to come. I've seen little bits and pieces on Extra and TMZ and whatnot. So as I get more information, I will bring it to you next time we come on to discuss some more. But I kind of want to put a good spin on the show, so I want to get into this person's business right quick, on something of a more positive note. That would be Miss Beyonce Knowles Carter. As you see in her country garb, I chose that picture in particular because we know that this Friday, her much anticipated country theme album, Cowboy Carter, is its title from what we know, is going to be released on Friday at midnight. And I'm wondering how well or how bad it will be received. Understand that for multiple weeks now, The song Texas Hold'em. This ain't Texas. We don't hold 'em. I would love to play a clip from that song right now, but of course you know I can't. Copyright laws and whatnot. I just saying that little clip to educate the people. Don't trip on me, Facebook. They just trying to know what's going on. But nonetheless, the album comes out Friday, and I think worst case scenario is just it's gonna get millions of plays because it's Beyonce, and just the curiosity of that, not to mention the Beehive, very supportive as a fan base. It will get millions of plays just from that. If it is more good songs like Texas Hold'em on that album, I can pretty much guarantee you that at least half of that album, these songs that is, will be in the top 10 on the Billboard charts by the end of next week. And that album will be the #1 album in the country by the end of next week. If it is anywhere close to good, okay? If it is truly good, I think it could possibly be the biggest selling album and the most prolific album since the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill back in 2000 or so. I think it could be that monumental. I go back to that fateful night at the Grammys not too long ago when Jay-Z felt the need to point out that his wife, for all the Grammys she has won as the most decorated Grammy person of all time, has never won Album of the Year. I'm now starting to feel like that in itself was a precursor setup to what's about to transpire here. That perhaps that was a premonition on his part, or that was him setting the stage for this to do just that. Because understand, the most popular form of music here in these United States is not R&B. It is not dance music. It is not hip hop. It is country music. It makes total sense from a business standpoint to enter that genre to see what type of money you can make. Because as the great Jay-Z, Sean Carter once said, what's better than one billionaire? And in the end, if this album blows up like it could, and then she in turn incorporates that into another tour with just the country, or basically add several country artists into remixes and whatnot, the potential for this could be huge. I mean, big, big, big dollars. I'm talking about Grammy for Album of the Year times 3 and then some. I'm really, really hoping, Beyonce, that this is some quality work. Now, understand, this is part of her musical experimentation. You know, in the first one, she kind of did the dance music, and that played out well. Now we got this country album. People think that this third album that she has coming next is going to be some type of rock album. I personally think and would not be surprised if it's either what some people saying a Destiny Child reunion album or perhaps a gospel album. But I think she would do well in that genre as well. Y'all remember the movie, the Fighting Temptations, and her work in that? Would love a Beyonce gospel album if that's what it is to be. But let's see what this country album about, and hopefully it's gonna be a good one. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's about. I really am. A couple other little side biscuits I want to throw in here before we head out. First of all, I want to send out prayers and condolences to the people of Baltimore who are dealing with that crazy tragedy that happened this morning with the collapse of the bridge. I mean, seeing that on television was just like, what? Did that actually happen? It looked like some scene from a crazy movie, to be quite honest with you. Just to see the destruction of it afterwards, and the fact that there were people working on the bridge and perhaps people driving on the bridge at the time of the accident. I'm really hoping that if they were in the water, that they were able to get them and that they will still find them alive somehow. Hoping that if there are dead, there are not many. I mean, it's just sad to lose your life in any way that's not natural causes, to be honest. But it's just crazy. Like I said, for those of my people in the Baltimore area that checked in to the Facebook. Let us know you're okay. I'm glad you are okay. And I'm hoping that your loved ones and people that you know were not a part of that tragedy. And again, prayers for all the families of the victims of that unfortunate tragedy. Another thing I would like to say is DT, y'all keeping up with what's going on with that whole mess with the various trials and some of the situations with that. I think we'll get into that a little more so next time around, because in the end we gotta monitor it, because it may very well decide who is in charge of this country, not only for the next 4 years, but in the years to come. Because if you allow him to get away with all of this and still make him president of these United States, yeah, we'll talk about that next time. But anyway, this has been the I Am Nighthawk Pod Show. Hold on, let me get these last couple comments in, y'all. The collapse of that bridge is beyond a travesty. This is total destruction. How did something like this happen, and what kind of construction was that bridge for it just to crumble like that? I mean, I don't know how old the bridge was. I mean, the fact that gigantic, I mean, because it was a big boat that hit that bridge, and the way that it hit it, like I said, in real time, I don't think we really get the scope of just how bad it was, because a lot of the things we are seeing are slow motion takes of what happened. But yeah, that boat hit it pretty hard. I won't get into any conspiracy theories. And again, you can't help but think about those types of things when these types of things happen. What could this thing in Baltimore be doing to distract us from something more important that went on at the same time? If you are a conspiracy theorist, as Meech and myself and several people tend to be, you gotta wonder, okay, what are we supposed to be missing because y'all didn't let that happen? Because again, there are entities in the society that need for certain things to go a certain way, and as a result, certain things go on. I'm just gonna say that like that. You be the judge of what I'm really saying. Child, was this a ploy? Is this the distraction needed to stop properties from being confiscated? It's a thought. It's a thought. When it comes to DT or the orange clown, orange pimp, whatever, I prefer, because y'all know I do not refer to that man by name. He does not get that respect from me. But yeah, I mean, just that press conference yesterday alone after what happened and some of the stuff he said, if y'all could actually listen to that in its entirety and find not only nothing wrong with it, but agree with everything that was said, I truly question your sanity as an individual. Plain and simple. Is this a way to stop coin from going over to the Gaza-Palestine war? It was mentioned today that the government, well, according to Biden, plans on paying for the bridge to be rebuilt with government funds. I found that interesting that he came to that conclusion immediately. Same day. I hope he talked that over with the proper people. He probably didn't. Or maybe he did. Something just ain't right about that. I kind of agree with Mitch. It just don't sit good in my spirit. It don't. But anyway, again, for those of you who have comments later on down the line, if you see this on the rebroadcast, feel free to add them into our comments. Again, make sure that you check out the young lady Dominique Brown's video. She is known as Drippin' Honey. That is her rap moniker. I really hope that something good comes from all of this for her. Again, this is the link that you can go to that will take you to that video. And do her a favor also, if you liked it or if you want to support her in that way, please like and subscribe, because you know if you get to a certain amount of followers, that could lead to something in and of itself as well. So yeah, that is the talk that I have for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow we are going to join you on the air for our sports talk. We're going to talk some baseballs. We're going to do our baseball preview. We're also going to talk a little football with my buddy Hugh Lee and talk about the tournaments, both the men's and women's tournaments, and some of our thoughts about what we've seen so far. kind of interesting that it's not quite gone the way I thought, but was some interesting games in there. But we'll talk about them. Thank you to Rode and Meech and Israel and all the good people at the Nighthawk Network that tuned in. Let me, before I leave, of course, play my good buddy Rhodes thing that we like to play to advertise what she's got going on here. Hold on.
On Blog Talk Radio or where most great music podcasts are located. Don't forget to subscribe and show some love.
And because I've been thinking about my good buddy, I think I actually want to end the show this way. Again, the person I'm talking to is the one and only, the late, great Derek Smith, who we also know and was known in this life as the one and only Helena Hologram. Been on my mind a lot lately, buddy, and just kind of want to play something that reminds me of you. This is the original episode of Hey Bitches, for those of you who have never seen it. Basically him just kind of testing the waters of it. We gained new listeners from India. That's awesome, bro. I am so glad that the platform is growing over there. And again, since we all been supporting each other, our platform here in the network is growing. We're getting more and more viewers every week. We appreciate that. I'm sure H2 would appreciate that as well. She's still here. Perhaps appreciating that from the skies above. Rest in paradise, my friend. But again, like I said, before we end the show, we're going to play this quick little clip that I have saved in the system. This is the original episode of Hey Bitches. And after that, we're going to head on out.
Oh, yeah. Now, Lord, this is rather confusing. Hello, hey, bitches.
Y'all YouTube?
Yes, honey, this is my first. This camera thing is getting on my nerves. Girl, I know how to rotate, but apparently I don't know how to rotate this camera, honey. Hey, bitches. I come to tell you my name is Miss Motherfucking Helena Hologram. I'm Derek at the moment, but you'll see me many different times being many different people. You might see me like this. You might see me at the beginning, the middle, and the end of me doing makeup. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to say one thing to all of y'all. Hey, bitches. Ow, what's going on, honey? I'm talking about all you bitches. Male, female, in between, in the middle. Hey, fiddle diddle, no teeth. All of y'all. Hey, bitches. Well, I really just wanted to see how this worked, and now that I know how it worked, Mother Helena Hologram, I will be coming back to you guys on a regular. Sometimes I'll be like this, sometimes I'll be like Helena, sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes what you can fill in the blanks, honey. You'll get the whole story sooner than later. Trust me when I tell you. Peace, and I'm out. I don't know how to turn it off, but I guess I'm out. Wait a minute, honey. We're going to figure this out.
I just like to watch that from time to time. It's crazy because, like I said, we came a long way with the technology from when we first started. Keep in mind that we are nearing, if not actually at the 4-year anniversary of my first time being on the air as a video podcaster. It's been an interesting journey, to say the least, just between all the things that have happened in those 4 years, between pandemic and the loss of my mother and other people in the network and so on and so forth. It's been quite the journey. Perhaps we'll discuss that another time. I want to keep this on a lively, positive note, so we're going to do that instead. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Until the next time we see each other, remember, be blessed. Don't be stressed. Let your hands do this. Get your prayer on and let the good Lord deal with the rest. Until next time, this has been your boy E-Buck, and this has been the I Am Nighthawk Pod Show. We did make a closing for this show, did we not, E-Buck? I want to say we did. We did. So let's play that boy. We out. This has been the I Am Nighthawk Podcast. a Nighthawk Network presentation. Nighthawk Network, our voices for our people.